Okay, for number 22, Unit 7, targets 1 and 2, number 22. I have a fraction as one of my points, which is difficult to work with on the graph, so we might just save the graph for the end. What we can do without a graph is use these formulas, which come from the midpoint formula. And essentially what they're doing is saying that you're going to take the average of the x's, so x plus x divided by 2, and that's going to give you the midpoints. So let me write down a point that I don't have. I have g, and then we're also finding h. And the coordinates for h, I don't know. So I'm going to say x comma y. So g is -4, 1, and h is x comma y. So if I take the x's and add them together, -4 plus x, and divide by 2, that would give me the x coordinate for the midpoint. Well, the x coordinate for the midpoint was already listed as -13 over 2. -13 over 2, if you want, you could write that as a decimal. -13 divided by 2 is -6.5. Either way works. Now I'm going to solve that equation. I'm going to multiply both sides by 2. On the left-hand side, I'm multiplying by 2 and dividing by 2, so that cancels out, and I get -4 plus x. And when I say cancels out, I mean that it becomes the number 1. When you take 2 divided by 2, you get the number 1. So 1 times -4 plus x is -4 plus x. -6.5 times 2 is the number -13, which if I would have left the fraction, the 2's would have behaved the same way. Times 2 divided by 2 gives you a 1, and 1 times -13 is -13. You can, of course, use your calculator through this as well. Add 4 on both sides, and so x is equal to -9. Okay, then we'll find the y values. So same thing, we're going to take the average of the y's. So y plus y divided by 2. So that's going to be 1 plus -6 divided by, whoops, let me start that again. Y plus y is 1 plus y divided by 2. And that's going to equal -6. I have to be careful there. -6 is the midpoint. So 1 plus y divided by 2 gives me the y coordinate of the midpoint, and -6 is that number. So times 2 times 2, I have 1 plus y is equal to -12. And subtracting 1, I'm going to get y equals -13. And I don't think I'm going to use the graph on this one because of the decimals and the fact that I have a 13, so it's moving off the graph. Clean that up a little bit. So h is going to be -9, -13. And you can check that. -9 plus -4 is -13. Divided by 2 is -13 halves. 1 plus -13 is -12. Divided by 2 is -6.